The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon. This is Megan Hendrick with TechXtend, and I'd like to welcome you to today's CA ERwin webinar. Today's focus is visualizing data lineage with CA ERwin Data Modeler and Web Portal. Our agenda includes a brief overview of TechXtend, followed by the webinar, which will be presented by Vani Mishra, Data Modeling BI Solution Manager at TechXtend. We will conclude with questions and answers. TechXtend is a leading value-added provider of software solutions and systems for corporations, government organizations, and academic institutions across New Jersey, the greater U.S., and Canada. With a focus on providing solutions to the greatest pain points companies are experiencing, TechXtend helps technology professionals gain optimal return from their investments in both hardware and software. Our customers rely on TechXtend for in-depth product expertise, unparalleled value and selection, as well as fast, accurate turnaround. Our goal is to provide easy access to the right IT products and solutions. TechXtend is a CA ERwin premium partner and the #1 data modeling reseller for CA in North America. TechXtend has a dedicated ERwin sales and engineering team with over 50 years of combined experience. We have expertise around data modeling and infrastructure design, and TechXtend has training services which make it the leader in delivery of CA education. I want to thank you for joining us today and allowing me a few minutes of your time. I will now turn the webinar over to Vani Mishra.
Thanks, Megan. Good afternoon. Megan gave a small, brief introduction to myself, and this is one of another webinar on TechXtend series, Visualizing Data Lineage. So the agenda is focused on Web Portal, of course, how Web Portal works. That will be mostly the part of my demo, and you will see how in Web Portal you can visualize your entity relationship diagram, your ERDs that has been developed in ERwin, and you can share that with your business users, your non-ERwin technical users. The information is coming from ERwin, different parts of ERwin, source target mapping kind of models, or design layer architecture. So that lineage will be part of my demo. I would like to make sure that everybody can hear me at this point, so just give me a second. Could you just check with Nirja? All good? Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to move on to my next slide. This slide basically talks about information needs of today's professional IT person. We are all IT people surrounded by different types of data. And today here I am going to talk about not only visualizing the data from the portal, but how important it is to have a strong, healthy data management processes in-house. And I'm going to tell you a story. So picture this. You and your spouse went to a wonderful restaurant, had a great meal, great conversation, but later that evening, you both get sick. You both get stomach sickness. What is the first thing you will do next morning? You'll get on phone, you'll get on your Facebook, you will tweet all your friends about that terrible, horrible experience at the restaurant, and you will advise all your friends and family members to stay away from that restaurant. Data is very similar to the same processes. Now, let's put another perspective to it, to the data. If I'm a CFO and I run to a report and present this information, my report, to a board member, and only later on I realized that the data, the report I used was inaccurate. It gets worse. Not only I get burned out, later on, once I realize that the data is inaccurate, I advise my team, stay away from the data. Data is inaccurate. We are not going to work on that particular data or that particular system or application. Slowly and slowly, your BI initiatives will die. Slowly, a very painful death to your successful going project. It's very, very common these days. But the sad story is people still continue to pull their data from that inaccurate data system, dump that into spreadsheet, they validate, they try to massage their data and meet their reporting needs. Just top kind of a cosmetic fixes to your data. This is wrong process, wrong way to use your resourceful data. Now coming back to the same story, what will persuade you to go back to the same restaurant? Can you think of any reason? Let's say you are driving by to that restaurant and you saw a sign of under new management. You possibly consider going back again, only reason because the owner has changed. So moral of the story is, if you have a bad data, you do not have a proper data system, put a sign of under the new management system. What does that mean in real life to our IT people? Admit that there is a data problem. We do not have a clean data. Second thing is, let's define the processes, communicate to the team, communicate to the customers, your business users, everybody who gets affected with the data so that the problem can be fixed and we can better serve our community. Start doing that. So two things comes first, cleaning up the data. If your department or your group or your company already started doing a project on cleaning up the data, you're halfway through. The second half comes with a lot of different processes involved, and some of the processes are now known as putting the MDM processes around. That is organizing your metadata in a proper way. So metadata and cleaning up the data, they both go in parallel. So most of our customers have a great data. There's nothing wrong with the data, but they have an awful consumption of that model. So it's almost like having a world-class chef serving you gourmet food in a paper plate but in a dirty dining room. So you don't want that. You want the right accurate information. You want to see the right presentation of that data. Saying that, we have to keep in mind what exactly our community or what my business user is looking for. Always constantly have business users in mind. If you are building your data models, if you are building your repository, if you are cleaning your data, what exactly the business user is looking for. That is the main goal. Now let's come back to this slide. Behind all the story I said, the four things are very important for us. Now we know accountability, trust, agility, and communication. Accountability, where my data is coming from. Who is using that data? Who's the main audience of this data? Is there any data stored to it? Who owns that data? Can I trust the data? Is there any quality checks have been done? Is that data can be passed fast enough to deliver to the market? Can I make my predictive analysis on that data? Am I communicating with everybody in IT who are aligned with that processes? Is that communication being clear so far or not? So all these factors are important, whether it's a data management, it's MDM, or it's just you being a data architect building your simple entity relationship diagram. Now looking at MDM, there are lots of different ways that people are going through. They are mostly in planning process. MDM is nothing but a lot of systems putting them in a proper processes. So data extraction, data cleaning, data standardization, putting data governance around it, and putting the MDM master data management towards it, putting all those kind of metadata in one place in your MDM hub. I personally strongly believe that having a MDM effort within your organization is very, very important. When you get into MDM, I mean, this is not a topic of MDM, but just since we are referencing it, I just would like to put few important things. When you're talking about MDM, you also talk about your enterprise data, you talk about your metadata, you talk about different transactional data. So if you look at the bigger picture, enterprise data is made out of three types of business data: transactional data, analytical data, and master data. Transactional, basically data supports the applications, whereas analytical data supports your decision making, and master data represents the business objects upon which the transaction has been done or dimensional or analysis will be completed. So master data is very important. The other one is reference data. So master data is something you're not going to change, but reference data is based on, so there's always a confusion between what will go in master data and what will go in reference data. That's completely different topic, not part of this webinar, but the bottom line is having an MDM in proper place, having people educated towards the MDM, educating your team towards data governance, putting data stewards in line, will lead a successful BI project, BI stories. That's what I say, rather than having a failure in long term. So BI, MDM, if you look through all these processes, everybody kind of says that data modeling is very, very important. Data modeling is the effort where you start understanding your metadata, you start understanding your business. And this particular slide, few years back, I should say, Data Varsity ran through a research, and they did a survey, and they found two top challenges being seen by our data modeling professions. Number one, which is 59%, data modelers said that it's very hard to present our data models, our entity relationship models, our business rules to non-Irwin users, non-technical users. The number two problem was integrating the other tools and metadata with different types of models. So combining these two issues is kind of a same story that we are coming back again, that if you're listening to that webinar, either you are a data modeler or a data architect or a data enterprise manager who is day in and day out working on the metadata, and the goal is that metadata needs to be shared with your business analyst, business community, or anybody who's being affected. So again, how can I share that metadata? I can share it with a lot of reasons and a lot of ways, but visualizing that metadata kind of makes the most success to being connected with the different non-technical team. And I came across a very interesting quote here. According to Edward Tuffet, if I read the name correct, visualization expresses complex ideas communicated with clarity, precision, and efficiency. So basically the idea is if you have lots of data and you are working on metadata, if you can express it in a right format, people will understand it better. And it's kind of saying that if history were taught in the form of stories, it would have never been forgotten. Right? We read the story, we read the history, we read the book, and after 6 months or after a couple of years, we forget. But at the same time, if you look at the picture, you remember it the rest of your life. So, going back to, while talking all good things about visualizing things and how I can successfully share that metadata, coming back to CA solution, we all are using Irwin, and then today's webinar is based on CA ERwin Web Portal. Web Portal is kind of tool right here. Let me go back to this slide. It's a separate tool. It does not come with the same install with Irwin. It's a completely separate install. And it comes in two flavors. One is standard and the second one is enterprise. Standards has quite a lot of limitations. You can only install it SQL Server Express. You can't have control on your users, like what kind of libraries or structure you will have, whereas enterprise, you can create different configuration, different libraries. You can export all your libraries directly from Model Manager or Work Group repository. you can, instead of importing one model at a time where you do that way in standard, because in standard does not talk to the Mart repository, enterprise, in one shot you can import the entire repository, Mart repository if you want. So looking at different flavors, whatever suits to your team. What exactly the web portal does? CA ERwin Web Portal makes it easy to share your metadata with both business and technical users. You can run your keyword search. You can do the diagram visualization. That is the key of the presentation. You can run your BI users, your business users can run an impact analysis without being dependent on Irwin team, which you do right now. If they need a report, either you have to publish that into Irwin report solution or report designer or pin report, or they will ask you to put it in a SharePoint. Every time there is a change, another request comes to you and you have to publish another model. Whereas with the web portal, they can run their own reports. And easy to roll out to multiple users. So each humongous, it is LDAP integration is there. So people, whoever wants to look at the model, they can just log into the web portal and they can see their own reports. This is how it looks like. When you log into the portal, you can research, you can analyze your metadata, you can run your report, you can visualize, as I said, different diagrams. If you have different subject areas, you can drill down to that, and all that only for non-Irwin users. You can, and the key point is running the lineage, running the semantic lineage, or you can run into different data lineage through web portal. Furthermore, if a web portal user logs into the web portal, he can see only the set of models that his administrator wants him to look at it. So let's say in your company, you have hundreds of models, and I am BI team member, and I'm only specific to one customer model, which only all that customer information sits on a particular group of models. I don't have to look through all 100 models. The administrator can say, okay, BI team member will be going through this 1 to 10 models, and we will be assigned, our permissions and privilege will be assigned only to that number of models, where we can run different research, we can collaborate. Collaboration is very, very important. It's the key factor. Collaboration from BI team to data modeling team. Collaboration from non-technical team to Irwin team. At the same time, Irwin team does not want everybody to make changes to the model. It's just making their suggestions, their comments. For example, somebody is looking into customer table, right? And if I'm a BI team member and I do not agree with the definition, maybe my OLTP system definition is different, or my data type is different. I would like to send out a comment back to my data steward. In this particular example, there's no data steward assigned, but if there is, I can email that person back, or I can send it back to data architect team. So this is how kind of a collaborative processes you are getting involved to visualizing more effective way to see the metadata. And this is where I was talking about providing a bidirectional feedback to your data architect team. Once you create those comments, the data modeling team can be emailed right from the different option set. You can also, being part of different team, you can also send them out a different file that you want. Let's say there is a data dictionary file, or you have a set of business rules, or you have different set of different business glossaries that you would like to share that with your data architect team. You can attach right from the portal, and you will say that my CRM system or my this particular application, this is the data dictionary or business glossary is based on this. Could you please implement this definition to this model X, or maybe customer model, or maybe MDM model, something like that, if you're building an MDM hub and you want to create your master data entities. So it's like a bidirectional exchanging the information your data modeling team is sending you out the entity relationship diagram. At the same time, you are educating them about how you run the process as a business user. So very effective way to run a collaborative business effort to clean the data or bring them more business value to your MDM projects. Same thing, further, if you drill down, you can select a particular object. In this case, customer object has been selected. And being an end user, I don't need any training in Irwin. I can select this particular option and I can see the definition, I can see the data type, if it's any colors, font, anything has been assigned, I can see that. I can run my own filters on the left. So let's say if I have been assigned 10 different models, and I'm only interested in one particular model or 2 or 3, I can uncheck those. So filtration is running the filter is very, very easy task. The last but not least, the lineage. We did talk briefly about the lineage. We have 2 types of lineage here. One is data lineage, a semantic lineage, where that kind of lineage comes from data design layer architecture from Irwin. So if the customers are already ahead in the MDM processes and they are using Irwin for data design layer aspects, they can see where exactly that data is coming from and how it's in different model has been flowing through. But again, being a web portal user, I can see that lineage, but that information needs to be fed by Irwin Designer in the data design layer architecture. So that is kind of a semantic design layer lineage. The second is source to target mapping, doing the warehouse right here, source to target mapping lineage. So this is very popular lineage for the data warehousing projects, where you are building your MART, your dimensional, your dimensions, your fact tables, and your model is ready. And in that model, the job is, or the goal is, you have different sources defined. I had a webinar in past which completely based on how to create the source to target mapping. So if you're interested in how Irwin works, you can go back and listen to the recording. But once that part is done, once this model has been mapped to different source and target, that lineage will automatically show in Web Portal. So this, with multiple sources coming to the model, that kind of lineage you need to create in Irwin in order to see, in order for your Web Portal users to see this kind of lineage. Just 1 second. All right. Before we move on to the demo aspect, this is another slide which I personally think that is very important. If you guys are interested to see how the architecture looks like, how the install looks like, this is how you will see. So if you're an Irwin user, chances are you are using Irwin as an end user, and if you also have a repository as in your environment, that is a separate repository. You might have, if you have the repository, you have an admin person who is controlling that environment. So we have one repository just managing your models. Now, if you are looking into Web Portal, you need a separate repository. And that's repository, if you are looking into Web Portal Enterprise Edition, you can make that repository in SQL Server Oracle database. So that's completely 2 separate repositories. And Web Portal repository will be updated. You can harvest your models. These 2 repositories can talk to each other. I mean, you can harvest all your models from Irwin into Web Portal by connecting through Meta Integration Bridge, and you can either export certain number of models from a particular library, or you can import the entire MART repository in one shot. I will never advise somebody to do that. Rather than have a processes defined, how many users we have, who will be the audience, finding out the audience, what is their goal, what exactly they are looking for. Let's say if I have a CRM team or some data warehouse team and they are looking for a specific set of models, I will only assign or harvest those models for those users. But if I have another team, a set of managers who are looking into the current version of your model, which is coming from the MART repository, I will assign those business users or managers to different group of models. So based on, depends on who is your audience, you can kind of structure it exactly who will be looking into what. But definitely understanding the architecture side, you need two different repositories, and repository can, this is one of the common questions people ask, that if I have a model in Web Portal repository, and after 3 months, if the model has been changed, is there a way I can update the model, or can I set a automatic updates in the repository itself? And the answer is yes. You can set the rule, like how oftenly you would like to update that model from MART repository to Web Portal repository. You can check those status weekly, every night, or once in a month, kind of a scheduling, and model will be automatically updated, and your audience is looking into the fresh, the latest version of your model. So that's kind of a very important factor to know about how Web Portal works. Now I'm going to start doing the demo. How are we doing time-wise? Okay, perfect. So we have exact 30 minutes to do the demo. I'm going to stop this PowerPoint and log into this. Megan, can you see my screen? Okay, great. So this is how a Web Portal login screen looks like. Now I'm going to log in as Terry, and let's pretend Terry is not a Irwin user. He is a data warehouse BI team member. Maybe he's a business analyst, or he is a manager. He would like to see the latest model assigned to the team, what exactly the data architect team has built up for their team, what kind of information is there, and if he can kind of do a bi-directional communication, how his warehouse model or data dictionary looks like, and he can pass on that knowledge back to data architect team. So let's log in as Terry. And as I said before, being Terry, he can log in, he can search into metadata, he can run report on your metadata. So still today, if you do not have Web Portal, every time a business analyst or a non-Irwin user comes and says that I need to see your ERD, there is a change in data type. The customer, we are building an MDM. We need to put all the MDM data dictionary in one side. Can you show me where exactly that information has been restored as your as-is model, and I would like to map it to my to-be model. Every time request comes, you as a data architect or data modeler have to go back in Irwin, run the report, put it in PDF or print it out, put it in meeting, and here we are with Web Portal. You are not only you are giving them the independent to run their own, kind of making them independent. They can run their own metadata reports. Asking you questions as a data architect team, they can drill down and see every detail of the metadata they can think of that their business needs. Once they see that, they can analyze, they can run the impact analysis, they can run Lineage, whatever they want. So let's do a simple scenarios. Being Terry, I can see only 5 or 6 models. Let's pretend that my company's repository has 50 models, but my administrator set me up to only give me access with the 6 models. That's one thing, because I'm part of DW team, and my BI initiatives ask me as a business analyst, I have to go through the every data dictionary and make sure that the definition or data type is kind of compliance with our system versus data architect team is working on it. Now, let's go in there and say, okay, let's make a search on customer. And I'm going to minimize this side. And here I found 169 result sets. And I'm going to move this property window. Hold on. And based on my selection, every time I put here. Second. It's overlapping. Hold on, let me log in back again. Screen is not doing a good job. Let's do is to search again. Customer. Search. And based on all the system information, I got 169 just like before. And I can say that show me all the details on customer table or this. So I can log into, because of this system, I can see the right side of my window. Okay, I'm going to make it look. So now property window is up. It was all the way on the right side. I couldn't drag it. But every time I make a selection on this left side, you will see the value, the detail on property window changes. Now if I got total 169 result sets. If I keep going different page, it will show me different result sets. I will just, by randomly, I'll say, okay, let's pick customer identification. Okay, it's coming from purchase order entry system. Then there is another model called eMovies, which has a customer address. What exactly is that customer addresses? This is a data type right on side. I can also see the definition. So being a Terry can see the definition, how the data architect team has put it on is there, and the data type for that column is varchar 20. And who is the data steward that we pull it from? If we have any data steward here, we do not have data steward. If you do it, data steward particular object comes from UDP property. Let me find a different one where I can see the data steward. Date created. I would like to show you that example. Last name. Okay, attribute name, attribute owner. Okay, because we are looking at the logical model. So attribute owner, if you look at the physical model, you will see attribute data steward is David. So let's say you as a Terry looking at it, and you will say, okay, the varchar 20 is not right. We have to change all the last names, or maybe this is the customer last name. All that. Is there a question? Is that question? We will cover the questions at the end. Okay. Sorry about that. So I'm glad that a lot of people are asking questions, but I will take the questions towards the end, and I will try to get as many questions possible, I promise. So the point I was trying to make, if you're going through this list, you can see data type, data steward, your validation rules, everything in detail. Now, the next thing I would like to show, being Terry, I have no clue where this entity relationship coming from, where exactly is this. Select the option and say, show me customer last name in the diagram itself. Just by making the selection, as you can see, the web portal launches the diagram itself, and based on the table, so things gets very easy. Just think in this way. If you have a model with hundreds of entities or tables, and being an end user, a non-Irwin user, I say, okay, out of that 100 table, where exactly that customer is sitting, which subject area, which display, can you take me straight to it, because I'm not familiar with this model, right? And tool is easy enough to launch right where the customer exists, and you can kind of drill through to this, and your property window will change according to your choice of the object. Okay, you can, same thing happens if you can run different information on the relationship lines as well. Now, another interesting thing is, if I look at it and I'll say, you know what, let me minimize this side here. This customer number, which is integer, or maybe I'll pick it customer address, which is varchar 20. I do not agree with this. For some reason, there is a requirement change came in, and Terry said, okay, let's make a change. Terry cannot make the changes directly to Irwin model, okay? So he can say address data type, or you can type in whatever, you know, and then based on that, I can save this, and I can email right from this comment section. I can email that address to that data steward and say, let's have a discussion. So now the way as is model you're working, first as a BI user, I will send you a request. Okay, I would like to say this particular entity model, customer from this subject area, tell me I have to verify the data type. Then you pull up being a data modeler, you pull out that model, print out that that particular report for your BI user or your business user. Then you sit down together, spend another hour just figuring out what is the right data type, and then finally he gives his feedback back to data modeling or data architecture team. Now here it is, everything, all those 4 or 5 steps I just said before, you don't have to do it. He can log in by himself, send you all his feedback, and simply, and still everything is under your control. There's another good thing about a web portal. Let's say your user decides, your web portal user decides that he would like to email or he would like to share this particular model that he's looking at it to another user. Let's say you have a development team, a developer, okay? And there is a need for writing an API against this model so that the third-party tool can communicate with your Irwin or can communicate to run some certain types of limitation or certain types of export and import bridges, which are not, I hope it's still everybody can hear because I just got a message. Can you check? I just got something. You can save this model right from here, right here, action items. You can export the model into, let me click on export. You can export this model as a non-Irwin user into XML format or Irwin file. I don't know why it didn't show up. Or you can also send it as a spreadsheet. So 3 things you can do. You can spread out, you can set this whole entire model into a spreadsheet. You can send this model into XML file to your developers, or you can send this model into a Irwin file and send it back to the model. The modeler might say, we are good? Okay. That modeler might say that, okay, this is the model and this is the data type, I need to make a change. So there are a lot of things can be done. So it's, the point I'm trying to make is it's just not a simple visualizing tool. A lot of back and forth communication goes along with it. The other thing I would like to show you, let me close this window. On the configuration side, I can filter it out. I got 169 results set. I can say, okay, you know what? I'm only interested in design layer and not this, or this, and run the filter. It's very quick. My filter is down to 130. So I can always do those things. Depends on my need and requirement. So let's go in this side again. Now let's look at the design layer. In my design layer models, I have, did you see that folder that says that this folder said that when I imported the model from the mod repository, I did not just import one model. I imported all the 5 or 6 model in one shot. So that's the folder I can show that. Okay. Now, a couple things you can see. You can say that in this design layer, since I know that a lot of models are connected, can you show me the architecture of the diagram? So this kind of a very high level overview how these models are connected. Then the second layer looking at this is if I run the same design layer, this is actually the one I wanted to show you. If I run a model connection overview, it will show me how these models are connected. So I'm going to minimize this. It's very, very tiny. I'm going to zoom in. It's a very high-level model overview, and basically the example shows it starts from eMovies business model, eMovies, and then it further went to eMovies business physical model, and so on. So if somebody like an architecture team or business team or managers, they are trying to look at the very high level, because recently I was doing some consultation to another company, and they said, you know what, the managers and senior VPs were sitting there, and they said, you know what, we don't need to drill down to every inch of the metadata, but we would like to know where are the different sources and what is the base of this model, how these models are connected. So sometimes just to look at the summary, this comes handy. Now if I go back to design layer here, again, let me go back and close this few screens. They are confusing. If I come back, the third aspect I'm going to show you is looking at the lineage. So now if I come in here and if I look at the eMovies, again, I'm a non-Irwin user. Keep that in mind. Keep the hat of a non-Irwin user when you're looking at our web portal. And I will say, okay, show me in the customer side, show me the semantic usage, or show me how this customer has been used, how the data is flowing from different models. So let me minimize on this side, close this window. Now, what I see here, this is a model-based, a library-based structure, how the lineage, semantic lineage looks like. Now, if I come in here and I would like to see more details of this lineage, again, it's a design layer lineage coming from Irwin, and once it has been designed, let me make sure that you can see the screen completely. And let me minimize this side. Okay, so where are the scenarios that you will use design layer? In the warehouse model, data warehouse model, let's say if you are building or in a master data model, right? You have customer table, and you have a customer ID and all the details to customer ID. In the MDM model or warehouse model, if you have fact table and you would like to link different sources, or you would like to derive different models from that MDM model, you are basically thinking, this is my focal point, but then I have connection from different sources, or maybe I am linking that this customer ID is coming from CRM system or SAP system, something like that, and that customer ID is defined as customer number, and you link that source from customer identification to customer number. Okay, so that kind of a lineage, if end user or a BI user would like to see, show me that kind of a design layer connection, you will view it right here. So that's called semantic lineage in Irwin. You might be getting confused, where is that design layer comes from? So let me show you quickly what I'm talking here. This is Irwin, and under actions we have, since I do not have any model open, let me open up a model here. Under actions, design layer, this is not a new feature. This is not a 952 feature. I've seen this feature since Irwin 4.0 release. So design layer is something that you will either building the fact table and different dimensions to it, and you are saying that, okay, I would like to add more sources to it. I would like to link my different systems to this model. So in that case, the model connection is getting bigger, the flow is getting bigger. You would like to see when you go back to web portal, you would like to see the summarize. The business user does not want to see every detail, but show me the summary, show me the linear summary, how that data has been flowing. Very, very important. Now, Another important factor when we talk about lineage is source to target mapping. Okay, so let's see the second type of usage on our web portal. Oh, by the way, before I forget, I would like to show you how I was talking about that, how you are making your non-Irwin users, your business users, more independent, so they don't have to rely on you on every small request, right? They can run their own reports. Right from here, if you go into the reports, every time on every tab you will see on different screens, they can run their reports. So if they go into reports right here, they can run their own data dictionary report. They can figure out, they can select, show me the table names, column names, something like that. Let's run this data dictionary column entity table report. It's very simple. So, you know, like you have less work to do, and they are more independently look into details of metadata. So let's say I do not want to see the model name every time, or schema name, or design layer. I would like to see the table name, not the entity name, comment, table comment. And right from here, it's not a robust reporting tool like you can have in Irwin, but at least it makes a user's life much easier. Right here, I can download it into spreadsheet. I can share it with another team member, or any screen that I would like to share it with another team. The star represents that I can make it as a bookmark page, and I can save it. So the reporting makes easy, but now let's go back to look into the different thing. I just want to make sure that I show you the reporting feature. This particular model, I have another set of models, and there is a model name called DW Mart. Somebody is building a mart, a warehouse model. And now, being Terry, again, the user is Terry. He comes in right here. Hello, Terry. I come into sales fact table. This is a fact table. That's why I come in here. And I say that, show me or trace me the semantic usage on this. Or maybe, you know what, trace data lineage on it. That will be more appropriate. So I'm trying to run a data lineage on fact table. And we'll try to understand what it is. Let me zoom in so you can see it. So I have, let's go back to an Irwin model. This is exactly the same model, but an end user is looking at the lineage based on that model. What exactly we did? We have this fact model, okay? And if I go to the column properties, and we go to order count. Under my column called order count, I have 3 different resources assigned, okay? So what exactly these resources are? I said this fact table has 3 systems which are mapping to the order count column, okay? I might have business rules, transform comments associated with it that comes along, okay? I'm basically saying that my order count has a source order item and order number, which says that count and order only, this is the rule, the business rule, that count and order only if it says it has been shipped. So this way, one column can, or one table can have multiple sources, and those sources can be anything. This source can come from a flat file, or from a spreadsheet, or it can come from another model, or a SQL script. The source can be anything, but you can map that into Irwin table and column level. That is the fact. Once that part is done, you come back. Now, let's go into the Terry's mode. Terry's business user, he has no idea. He's only interested in showing the lineage. So he comes in and he can clearly see that this Mart fact table, sales fact table, has a order count, which has a transform comment, a business comment, that count and order, that is data movement comment, your data movement rule. Count only when the order is shipped. And it has a 3 sources mapped. Those lineage mapping is coming from Irwin. but he doesn't need to know that. You as a data architect has to do some work behind the scene, but being Terry, I can very clearly see this mapping, this lineage. So this is called data lineage, source to target mapping lineage. It is one of the most powerful feature and most demanding feature in Web Portal. I just want to make sure that everybody gets the point clear, the value out of the Web Portal. Beside that, Terry can run this lineage. He can, let me go there. There are many small things that you can do. You can send out an attachment. Let's say you are running a MDM initiatives, okay? And your business analyst group has, or the person has a list of data rules, data movement rules, or the business analyst have glossary list. They would like to comment that back or send that back to your data architect team and saying that this book dimension in this particular example needs to be verified by this glossary. Okay? Or maybe this is not a good example. The customer will be a good example in master data management efforts or product or location or whatever, you know, you are building. The point I'm trying to make here is your business analyst team can send you any attachment back from here to your data architect team. Of course, you can always attach your attachment through Irwin model as a UDP. So that option is always open for you. But the question is, can Web Portal users do the same? And answer is yes. They can always send you comments. They can always run different lineage. They can run different reports. I just want to make sure that everything is clear. So just to summarize on Web Portal, what Web Portal allows you to do, it allows your end user to do the search as a global search on your repository, a global search on the set of the model they have been given to your non-Irwin users, to a business users, to a data modeling team or master data management team. They can run their own reports. Very, very important. Running the reports, I'm telling you, your job will be half done if you start teaching them or training them how to run their own reports. Not only they can run reports, they can look into their data dictionary right from here. And they can say if the model is huge and they have no idea how to get to that model, show me in the diagram feature, let them go directly into that model. They can see every detail of the model on the right side properties window. That's important. They can send your data architect team the comments back, their feedback right to you, to the data steward, right? They can, as I said, they can also export this model to development team, to developers, to write an API or something as a custom home-built small project you are running against Irwin or against Web Portal. That can be doable through XML. So we are at 2:56. I hope the point has been clear so far. Why data management is important and why the MDM is important. I'm a big fan of MDM. Master data management is a big need to manage the right quality of data and cleansing the data and processing it properly so that prediction can be right. That's where this whole data management initiatives are going, and how Irwin solutions, different products can kind of help you going in that successful direction. So at this point, Megan, do we have any questions? Okay, I'm going to put you on speaker so you can speak. Sure.
So our first question is, do the Web Portal users need to be licensed Irwin users?
Repeat the question again.
Do the Web Portal users need to be licensed Irwin users?
No. The Web Portal users are completely independent users from Irwin. So Irwin users have their own licenses, and Web Portal users will have Web Portal licenses. That's it. So they are two separate identities.
Okay. Our next question is, how can I harvest an Irwin model to Web Portal with no Irwin software installed?
Okay. So I think the person is trying to understand, can a web portal user can harvest models without having Irwin installed? Answer is no. To do the harvesting, I'm assuming that you will have 1 or 2 people in charge who will be not only doing the export and import work on a model, they will be managing different libraries and different set of things. In that, we did not talk about administration piece today, which is a complete different task in a web portal. But only the web portal administrator will be able to harvest the models, not everybody else. Everybody else is kind of a read-only access to look through the model, to drill through the model, and provide their feedback. But if there is a particular model that they need to harvest, they need to request that to their administrator, and that person who has access to Irwin and portal both will be able to export it or harvest it.
Awesome. Our next question is, can I configure the LDAP connection in Irwin Web Portal?
Yes, LDAP is completely enabled, or you can basically do the setup for LDAP connections or single sign-on. So we do support that, correct.
Can I export the model to XML from Web Portal?
Okay, and answer is yes. Yes. While I'm typing, I'm also showing users an administrative piece of it. So all these questions, do we have any other questions?
There's only one more.
Okay, all right.
After that.
Okay, I think we are at 3 o'clock, so we'll take the last question then.
Do you need any proper training to work with the Web Portal?
I don't think you really need a lot of training in Web Portal, but having a little hand-holding, half-day session, what exactly the Web Portal is, how to do the setup on the configuration. So I'm logged in as administrator right now, how to set up the different libraries, how to make different users. So there is a administration piece of it, so how to create different users, how to set their profiles. Once that part is done, users can just simply log in and start playing with it, and they should be good to go. So maybe 2 to 3 hours of handholding will be enough. So I think we are good with this. And there's one more? Okay, great. So yeah, you can wrap it up.
Thank you all for attending today. We have reached our time limit. If you have any follow-up questions or would like to connect directly, please reach out to Vanya Mishra. Her contact information is on the last slide. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye.